now we are going to start with the last panel in this session, which is called MHM in the Age of Innovation and IT. We all know as individuals how IT has been impacting our lives, especially now that with the pandemic. With pandemic and all, we have also realized that the number one benefit of information technology is that it empowers us to do what we want to do. In fact, it allows us to be creative, to be productive, and it also allows us to do things which we thought we never could do before. And in that sense, it has a lot of potential, which I think the menstrual hygiene management system should harness. With that as the perspective, let me start introducing our panels. We have an August panel here in this. We start with Sujata. Hi, Sujata. Welcome to this panel. Just to give you a brief introduction of Sujata, she is a menstrual educator and founder of Avni, who has been working with mental health products which are eco-friendly, toxin-free, and sustainable. She has also educated over 500 girls in schools and colleges in her bid to make menstrual awareness more and more accessible to people. Welcome, Sujata, once again. You're muted.
Thank you so much, Ruby. It is very nice to be here.
Our pleasure. My next panelist is Rohini Swami. Rohini is also an innovator and a global health specialist who works on end-to-end product development and management across corporates and startup ecosystems. Her take on product lifestyle innovation is path-breaking, and the social innovation techniques that she uses on delivering the results of her products are something which is very close to her heart. Welcome, Rohini, to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm going to keep my camera off because I'm having network issues. So
yeah, Bombay has a lot of bandwidth issue today. Yeah, I can understand from Sujata and Rohini. Both are based in Bombay. Okay, my third panelist on the show is Dr. Nehal Shah. Hi. Dr. Nehal Shah is the founder of rituja.org and is an expert in premenstrual science with an exposure of 2 decades in research, youth education, and social services. She has touched the lives of over 800 young women and girls in the age group of 13 to 36, who she has actually hand coached to be able to deal with these issues. Welcome, Dr. Nehal Shah.
Thank you so much.
My next guest is from a little faraway country. From my end, it is a country called Zimbabwe in Africa. She is a superwoman. Why I am calling her a superwoman is something we will come to very soon. Chipo Chikomo is the country representative for Zimbabwe for Girls for Day. Girls for Day is a US-based organization, and she's the country representative for Zimbabwe. She's also the founder of Nanga Trust, which empowers women and girls. She has numerous educational qualifications under her belt, and a lot of them are on full scholarship, not to mention the accolades and awards, which is where my story on her being a superwoman comes into play. The last of the awards that she received, she made her acceptance speech 2 months ago from the labor room where she was delivering. And she was nominated as the only woman in that category for bringing economic sustenance and development to Zimbabwe. So welcome, Chipo. Can we hear you, Chipo? I can't see you.
Greetings, everyone.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Greetings. Hello.
Hi. So now we come to the next 2 panelists who are fortunately 2 gentlemen who have extreme interest in this, and which is a rare thing in this day and age, even today. The first of them is this gentleman called James Atito, who is based out of Kenya. He is known as the Padman of Kenya, and he's also the founder of this organization called the Period Man. And He is also the global menstrual male champion from Kenya. Apart from Kenya, he also works with other countries around him. He's the youth advisory committee. He's led the youth advisory committee, beg your pardon, in Mombasa, and has helped them develop their policies and implement them. Is also a member of various prestigious bodies who are working towards accelerating the menstrual hygiene management advocacy in Kenya. Welcome, James. James, I just saw you in the panel, can't see you. Hi. Good to see you, James.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here and part of this summit. And I'm looking forward to having a very fruitful discussion moving forward.
Likewise, James. And my final panelist for the day is Mr. Akiv Hussein. He's the co-founder of AL 2050 Foundation and also the founder of Free Flow Ventures Private Limited. This young tech guru has mentored over 250 startups across various verticals, and many of them got funded at various stages. And with his in-depth knowledge of tech, he plans to influence MHM in its entirety and the way people look at this particular aspect of human life. Welcome all my panelists. Welcome, Akiv.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for having me here.
So we start off with you're welcome, sir. So we start off with Sujata.
Yes.
Sujata, are we ready? Okay. My first question to you is, Sujata, having worked with 500 plus girls, please tell me, has technology helped you, and have you been able to innovate with the use of technology, and if so, how?
Yes, it has definitely helped me in two ways, I would say. It was very fortunate for me to have started my work in this space as an educator myself. Um, when I was interacting with the girls, these were young girls from school and college, both from an urban setup and a rural setup. So this was very fortunate that we could actually access both these kind of population. What I could figure out is most of the challenges that we read about or listen in the space of menstrual health these days, not just in India but globally, like for example, women not using good quality period products, not using products at all, or so many myths making the rounds on and off. Most of these challenges or issues which we talk about are deeply rooted in the lack of awareness and the lack of knowledge that we have around this topic. We all, through all my reading, I've come to know that there is a lot of science that there was in the way we've managed our menstrual cycles. But somehow, during the course of time, we have lost all that wisdom and that knowledge. And somehow it has not been so carried through generations, and especially via women. So if I go by my personal experience, I also know when I used to ask questions to my mother, she was not able to answer a lot of them. So taking forward my personal experience and the fact that I was educating these girls, we found out that if there was a very simple way of them reaching us or an expert through the most commonest possible form, that is, or easily accessible form today, which is a mobile phone, that might make a really big impact. Because whichever village I used to go and take session in schools, they used to consider that I am a doctor, and the mothers used to come and talk to me and ask questions, just generally that my daughter has this problem, she has very heavy flow, or she doesn't have. So I used to tell them that these are issues which you need to talk to, and you need an expert to talk to. So coming back with all these experiences and learnings, we at Avni decided to start a helpline, which is India's first period helpline, as we call it. And we are making experts accessible to a, a common girls sitting across either in a urban setup or a village, accessible via a WhatsApp, via call or SMS. So that is what we started last year. This is a mobile number. It's not a toll free kind of a number. This is a mobile number, easily accessible. Anybody can reach us on a mobile phone using WhatsApp, using call or SMS, whatever they're comfortable with, and they can ask questions about um, anything related to their menstrual health. So it specifically does not have to deal with the products that we are selling. If they have any queries about their menstrual health, they can reach out to us. What we did, we took one step ahead, because we started to realize that a lot of the queries were technical, and so we started taking the help of some health experts, and now we have a complete a set of experts on our panel, ranging from a gynecologist to a pediatrician to a yoga expert to a psychologist, who helps answer these queries on a spectrum of conditions. So if anybody really wants to talk on any of these topics, they are welcome to come to our website, type in the question, and the email is directed to the particular expert, and she can get a question, and she can get her question answered. So what we are trying to use technology in the most simplest and the accessible way is that anybody can reach us, anybody can directly talk to an expert, which is something which is not accessible to a lot of remote places. And even if it is, for example, in an urban setup, a lot of girls and women shy away from asking questions to a gynecologist or even a pediatrician for that matter. And the reason for this is they don't know what is of importance and what is not of so much of importance that I should really go and ask a doctor. But if something is accessible on a mobile phone, that I can just put in a question, type a message, and send it across, and I can get an answer, that is something that might revolutionize the way women talk to health experts on a topic, on a relevant subject. So we direct them. So if we feel that the topic is something that has to do with psychology, we direct it to a psychologist. If it is pure physical issue that she's facing, we direct it to a gynecologist. We also have Ayurvedic doctors on our panel. So that is how we are building up an entire panel to help, and we definitely plan to scale it up going ahead.
That was amazing. I mean, a simple technology used to the best of its advantage. We'll come back to you to hear more from it. We come to Rohini now. Rohini, I believe that you, in your views, innovation is a lot more than technology. It can be a part of product life cycle innovation. It can be an innovation which is kinder to the planet. If you can help us understand that better, please.
Sure, Ruby. Thanks for the question. So, we at Living Guard believe that uh, innovation in today's world, where climate change, waste, environmental impact is real and is something we all need to come together to solve. We focus on developing products and technologies that are kind to you and kind to the planet. By that I mean is, by that I mean is that sustainable hygiene is at the root and at the core of any kind of product or service that we develop. Talking about the first part, we in 2017 introduced a reusable sanitary napkin, which was antibacterial, antifungal, so that menstruators across the world can have access to sanitary protection, and we can fight towards ending period poverty. We started this in India because our organization, Living Guard, was based in India at the time, and now with headquarters in Switzerland and operations across the Middle East, Singapore, the US, India, and Europe, we are working on expanding this product portfolio to African countries as well as countries in the Asia Pacific region. The difference between our product and sort of the unmet need that we try to solve for is that the kind of menstruators that we had met, especially women and girls living in hard to reach and poor resource environments, were using hay. They were using scraps of paper. They were using old rags, which led to a lot of infections, led to them missing school in some cases or missing work. And this kind of spending time with these communities, we used their insights, their experiences to develop the product actually in conjunction with this. So this was co-innovation with the consumer. That was really, that was one of the first times Living Guard as a company kind of employed that approach. And we developed two variants, one which is a sanitary pad similar to a disposable pad that we were to use, and a period panty. Because what we learned is that when we gave them a pad, some of them didn't have underwear to use the pad and to wrap the wings around. And that prompted us to say, okay, can we build a period panty where they don't have to rely on something else? As we spent time kind of on developing this product and working with NGOs and corporates to make sure the product reached our target audiences, we started an initiative called Give Her Five. So this is where I think the innovation comes in, our ability to reach our target audience, where with Give Her Five, we work with individual company group donors to crowdsource and crowdfund uh, programs, whether they be in communities, schools, villages, prisons, for example, where we accept donations, select programs, and then connect that donor to a recipient who's made a request through the Give Her Five organization. And we provide the sanitary napkins that we have at a very, very subsidized cost, so that Living Guard can also be part of the solution that we're trying to bring to these women. So I would say that today our approach at Living Guard is to ensure that we can get our antimicrobial technology to those who need it the most, and ensure we do it in a sustainable way.
Thank you, Rohini. That was wonderful. We'll come back to you with our queries around this. Let's, yeah, let's, Dr. Shah, now on to you. Just wanted to understand, with all these digital innovations and technology in place, are you still able to manage to do what you are wanting to, or there are still unmet needs at your end?
So thank you so much for this platform, and it has been wonderful attending so many people's experience past 2 days. And I would just share a few things, as I basically do research and work on premenstrual syndrome and PMDD more. And I had launched a website related to the same long back, somewhere 2011. And since then, I had been upgrading my work through digital aspects at number of things. Like when I started, there were nothing like Android mobile phones, and later on they came into picture. So we also designed the website which became mobile friendly, and it can be utilized on iPhones and mobile phones. But there are many things which really needs to be done in this matter. So I'll just introduce certain things which I want to talk through a small presentation slides. So this is a recent National Family Health Survey finding, and few positive things about women in India is that whatever policies and approaches of government has helped the number of women rise, which was very less previously. So as compared to the equality in the number required, because we were very down, now at least we have 1020 women on 2000 men. That means the number has really come up very fast. This is a recent survey scenario. And there are also women coming up very fast in terms of their finance. So they are also becoming aware about their finance, about their property matters, and they are becoming the owners of their own houses, maybe jointly or maybe alone. And that number has also really rised to a great extent here. But when it comes to the body and menstruation, we really are still having a lot of loopholes. So what I understand is menstruation cannot be dealt alone. It is a global matter, and everybody and all the stakeholders should come together. And now menstruation needs to be taken up as a natural course, and it shouldn't be something which requires to be hidden behind or under the carpets, but it should be talked in a natural way, which is not coming up in the narratives. Also, there is a need of holistic approach towards women health. So if we put a holistic approach, maybe menstruation can be talked easily. So when we talk about general women health, hygiene, general infections, and include menstruation as a part of it, it is more acceptable compared to only talking about menstruation alone. So we need to change our approaches when we want to really make people hear about menstruation. Also, we need to talk about the mental and spiritual health of the women, which is what I have understood with my experience of so many years, that we hardly talk about the mental aspects related to periods. What we do is we do educate and awareness related to the hygiene, the cycles, the science behind it, but we fail to understand what a girl might be undergoing mentally, what sort of a trauma she feels when she first time comes across her menarche, or when she's not understanding her periods and what she's facing mentally. In my research, I have found out that there are a lot of psychological issues more compared to physical issues. And maybe physical issues they will be able to tackle somewhere even without our help. But what they are not able to manage is the mental setup. They are not able to manage the irritation, the mood swings, because they are not understanding that that is also a part and parcel of the periods. And this is what is lacking in most of the menstrual education also, which should be focused in a very well planned and organized way. Then it becomes again a very integrated and holistic aspect. This integration cannot be done again at one level. We need all the stakeholders to come together. So as the Avni NGO has taken up a complete panel starting from gynecologist till that of a yoga charya, we need everybody to come up for the menstrual work to put forth in the world. And this cannot happen without the influencers. So I always has been as a child also continuously figuring out what the lady who is my best or my favorite heroine must be feeling when she undergoes a period. So they hardly talk about their periods, and they are the most influential people for adolescent girl child, or maybe also for the boys. So if they openly come up and talk about periods and the things related to it, maybe it becomes more heard. And that is why one of the movies in India became very popular and known, related to periods and how the periods are being perceived in the country. And thereafter, I think a lot of shame factor has reduced. Talking about the innovations, according to family health surveys, the girls have started using more mobile phones compared to what it was in the past. And they are also know the ones who are becoming more aware in terms of menstrual hygiene. So that ratio has also come up very fast. And we are also coming across generation Z. So we are not dealing with people who are not understanding technology anymore. We are dealing with people who are born with iPads, who are born with gadgets, and who are born with internet to be utilized somewhere in their surrounding. Even if a rural area is not, maybe a lady is not knowing how to operate mobile phone, but she is aware that there is something like a phone, and if she's been taught, she'll definitely learn about it. So there is going to be a new generation coming up with lot of gadgets into their hands since their early childhood, and we need to take care of them also. And for that, we really need to change the approach of how we put the material of education and awareness related to periods, hygiene, PMS in front of them. So there, I don't see any good online health games coming up for menstrual health or menstrual periods. There are not many good animations or applications which are being designed specifically for this kind of work. There are few, but they talk about period trackers, cycle trackers, ovulation time, but then there are no self-help tools which are introduced into it. There are no tips for the small common ailments that the girls undergo. We need to introduce some scientifically designed tools and toys for the children so that it becomes natural. If we really want to change the narrative of period positivity, we really have to introduce them since the beginning of their childhood, and it should come as a normal natural course to them. For that, we really need to redesign the toys that they are using, and that I do not see in the market much is being done about this fact. Same goes with a lot of arts and creativities. I recently went through one of the YouTube videos wherein somebody had designed that how a man can feel the pain of a period, and they had asked the men to undergo that same procedure, and that is how the men were being able to judge what a girl might be undergoing when she suffers a painful period. But now how much and how far we are reaching through song stories and dramas, so that needs a real caretaking in even from the art side. And a lot of cartoon characters and mascots play vital role in influencing the young girls and groups. For example, in India we have Amul Dairy, who has its own mascot, a small girl child, which is being utilized now for a lot of different purpose when they are advertising for Amul butter. Now we do not have that kind of things which actually can really make our task easy. So this needs to be discussed. We'll take 1 or 2 more minutes.
Yeah,
Uh,
Neha, please.
yeah, so the digital tools are not coming up in vernacular languages. I only could find one application in Hindi, and that too, it was launched in May 2019. But I am not sure what has happened further and how many people know about it. Same goes with the comic books which are coming up, but there are only two comic books which I can really list out in India, which are available in different languages related to menstruation. So more work is needed in the field of vernacular languages, and it shouldn't be only a product talking about menstrual cycle, but there has to be a lot of things to be incorporated for a female. Then only it becomes a holistic tool, and then we can reach out the people by covering it up under the health aspect and talking the real facts to them. So a lot of things really need to be done, but when we want to work, the technical aspects are missing with lot of us. Like I myself do not understand how apps are being designed. The funds are missing. I run the website since so many years, but the all the fund that I'm been using is coming from my own service and job that I do. So it's taking a lot of toil in managing the website that I run for awareness purpose. So funding is a major problem. Lack of good expert team whom to approach, we are not able to understand that. And proper platforms for launching this kind of innovations. Like if today I wasn't there in this summit, I would have never come across Al Avni helpline. So that was something new to me. Now how many of us know actually that this kind of helplines are going on? So I think a lot of loops are there in innovation and technology side, and maybe we all of us should come together to resolve these minute issues to come forward. Thank you.
Dr. Shah, one of the panelists soon is going to address all of these questions that you've raised
Thank
up.
you.
I'm
Thank you.
glad you've put this up. Okay. So thank you very much. That was very informative. On to you, Chipo. Hi.
Hello.
Chipotle,
Hello.
yeah, just wanted to understand if your experience in Zimbabwe is any different, or are there similar things, or is there an area of collaboration we can look at?
There are similar things. Um, as I alluded before, I've actually lived in India some time back
Yes,
for
yes.
almost a year. So some of the things I found they were also similar. In the sense that we also have like rural areas and urban areas. So you have people who have access to sanitary towels and those who are experiencing period poverty. However, the challenge has been in terms of now with the COVID pandemic, we have realized that we haven't been doing much work in terms of the digital platforms that the girls or women can access if they need that type of information. So before we were actually, when we would do, for example, distributions, because we manufacture Days for Girls washable sanitary towels, and also we partner with different organizations in different countries. At times we are distributing menstrual cups. So what we'll do is we'll travel to where the products are being distributed. Maybe it's a school, and we do a focus group discussion, educating the girls on the usage of the products. And if they've got any questions, we'll then address them. And that was going on well until COVID came. And now the questions that Dr. Shah is sharing are the similar challenges that we have. So if we were to go to look at apps that are maybe made for other countries, maybe for the UK market or the American market, they are not they do not suit the type of audience that we have in Zimbabwe. So you can have a period tracker that you can download. Maybe it's made in it was developed in another country, but because it's in another language, it's difficult for people to understand back home. So those are the similar challenges that we have.
That's wonderful. We will soon put you onto the panelist who will address all of these. But before that, let's have a conversation with James. James, hi. One of the innovations that I have found with you is having men talk about this and take such active part in it. So that in itself is a big thing, big story. So please tell us about that, and also the gadgets that can be used to manage the PMS syndromes or the post-menstrual syndromes, or during the menstrual the discomforts that one faces during the menstrual hygiene. If you can take us through both of them, and if there is any other innovation you want to talk about.
Thank you, Ruby. It is great listening to these great panelists talking and sharing experiences from different parts of this world. Just to mention and to start, is that yes, my name is James Atito, and I work for Stretchers Youth Organization. I understand there was a bit of confusion of whether my organization is the period man or which one. But my organization is called Stretchers Youth Organization, which is an institution, a community-based organization here in Kenya, Mombasa County, that we are working within community to make sure we protect the rights of young people and women across our region in terms of capacity building them on sexual reproductive health and rights, in terms of empowering them on life skills, human rights, policies, and different kinds of advocacy. But my journey on advocating for menstrual hygiene management started way back in 2016 when a partner organization that we're working with called DSW Kenya. DSW is a global NGO working on matters family planning based in Germany. So DSW was introducing menstrual cups to about 50 girls here in Kenya. And one of the girls was my younger sister. So I became interested to understand what is this new product that is being introduced to my younger sister. So I started doing research on menstrual cup, and that is when I started encountering issues around periods. So I continued with my research, and it reached a point when DSW was now looking for male champions to break the silence on menstruation and also help men understand what periods and menstrual health is all about. So that is when I started now doing advocacy on menstrual health. And then in 2019, I got an opportunity to travel to some parts of Kenya called Turkana. Turkana is an arid area in the northern part of Kenya. And when I was there, a night before the session that I had gone to do, I had gone there to train adolescent girls and young women and also boys on matters of menstrual hygiene management and general sexual reproductive health and rights. So a day before my session, late in the evening around 7 p.m., I was walking by the roadside. I came across 7 girls seated, and I asked the person we were walking with, why are these girls seated by the roadside and it is late at night and it's also drizzling? So I was told that these girls were menstruating and it was a taboo for them to sit in their homesteads, especially where men are. So that was quite an unfortunate incident that I encountered that day. So the following day, when I was training, it got to a point when I was now demonstrating how to use menstrual cup. Then there is a girl who raised a hand and asked, why are you talking about periods and you're a man? Are you a period man? So it didn't hit me that day. But when I went back to my workstation in Mombasa, I started thinking of how can I break the silence on menstruation, especially among men, to help the 7 girls that I met seated by the roadside because of the taboos and the culture and the kind of stories going on in the community. So I remembered that name, the period man. And from that day, I decided that I will be the period man. And I will use that brand name to advocate for dignified menstrual hygiene management. So I've been the period man since 2019 to date. I thought of how well do I use this innovation to influence change in terms of policy, in terms of budget allocation, in terms of breaking the silence in the community, and even influencing more men to support this agenda. So I opened Facebook pages, Instagram, Twitter, and started doing a challenge. This challenge, I called it Men for Periods 365, which meant that I will be posting information around menstrual health every day from January 1st to 31st December, just to break the silence on menstrual health and make sure that people have these conversations. So I've been doing that since then, and I'm continuing up to a point last year, 2020, when I organized a conference called Men for Periods Conference. And this Men for Period Conference brought about a lot of men across the country, both physically and also online. And from that conference, we were able to launch Men for Periods movement, which is running and very vocal in Kenya, just to make sure that we are bringing as many men as possible in this conversation so that we break the period stigma in our country. So in addition to that innovation of just identifying a brand so that I'm able to use it in advocacy, we've seen a number of innovations that have happened in our country and even other parts of this world. The previous panelists have mentioned the use of applications for tracking periods. We've seen applications being generated from different sectors, different organizations. We have applications like Flow Period, we have Ovulation Tracker, Spot On, Glow, and currently UNICEF has Oki app that is used to track periods, and even girls are able to access information on reproductive health. And currently we are working with UNICEF and other partners like LVCT Kenya to domesticate the Oki app to local language. So far it has been translated into Kiswahili, which is a local language here in Kenya, so that even girls in the rural areas, those who have not gone to school, are able also to get to use this, to localize this application and use it effectively. We've also seen some innovations like ones that are used to promote access to menstrual products. And I'm talking about access is a point where girls can go and get access to a sanitary pad, for example. And this innovation is called a sanitary pad dispenser. I know different countries have different kind of innovations, but for our case, this is a kind of a dispenser that is put in a place, and we have both manual and automated. So the manual one is that sanitary pads are put inside the dispenser. Then girls are able to access it whenever they want to use these products at a free cost. Then we have automated dispenser, which are nowadays used at workplaces. Corporates have taken good note of them, and they are using it to promote menstrual hygiene management at workplaces by though this platform is payable. So they use mobile money. You deposit, there is a code that is generated within the system of the dispenser. Then you deposit some money. It can be 10 shillings or 20 shillings, which is a little bit cheaper compared to someone going to the shop to buy a pack of sanitary pad. So you can only buy what you want to use at that particular time. So it has made it easy for women to access this kind of products in schools, in workplaces, and different sectors. Then we've also seen production of incinerators. These are sanitary pad incinerators. We know globally we are grappling with the menstrual products disposal, and specifically sanitary pads. We have tons of millions of sanitary pads, used sanitary pads, that are ending up in our environment. So we've seen a number of innovations in terms of production of incinerators. We have one company actually in Kenya that produces the sanitary pad incinerators, that produces also the dispensers, and it does a lot of work in making sure that institutions like schools, universities, hospitals are sensitized on the importance of using this kind of products, so that we are able to improve on sanitary pad disposal. Then the innovation on menstrual cups, I know it is a very common, or it has been existing for a very long time. But in Kenya, menstrual cup use is now picking up because people are finding it as a new innovation that they can use to manage periods with dignity. And also it is a reusable product for a number of years, like say, we are having Ruby Cup that goes for 10 years. And just to point out, we have a Ruby Cup here. If I can just open, perhaps you've seen some other kind of cups in India or other parts of the country. But when I talk about Ruby Cup, this is what I'm talking about. So also we've seen a lot of girls now picking or using a lot of reusable sanitary pads, which we train locally. Then girls are now able to make their own reusable sanitary pads. But of course, it comes with a lot of information, a lot of sensitization around the hygiene aspect, around issues to do with prevention of infections, among other things. Then in terms of now managing period pain, we know a lot of women and girls have been grappling with this issue for a very long time. A lot of girls have been using painkillers, and some don't even know what kind of painkillers to use during menstruation. So they have been going to get some painkillers meant for the normal stomach, for running stomach, instead of the ones that can be used to manage period pain. So we've seen innovation around production of Jolly device. A Jolly device is a device like this. If I can just show you. This is a Jolly device. So this Jolly device is connected to electrodes. So these electrodes are patches that women put around their lower abdomen. Then this thing is rechargeable. So once a girl or a woman is menstruating and they are having very serious period pain, they simply need to use this product without the need to buy the normal painkillers. So what they need to do is simply switch this product on, and then it generates some vibration or some movement along the lower abdomen so that it confuses the pain. It helps in relieving that period pain for women. It's also an item that is reusable for a number of years and helps in reducing costs around buying menstrual products in terms of pain relievers. So these are just some of the uh, types of innovations that we are using here in our country, and we are sensitizing our communities to embrace them so that we are able to experience or to have a group of women and young girls experiencing menstruation in a dignified manner. I think
Right, gents. Thanks
as
so much. We'll come back to you on the rest of the innovation. We'll take on the last speaker for his first introduction. We'll come back to you on the follow-up question on that. Right? Thank you so much. That was really, really informative. Coming back to you, Akiv, apart from addressing the questions that Chipo and Dr. Shah raised, which I think you are most qualified in this panel to deal with, please also let us know about the transparency and about giving the innovators their due on menstrual hygiene management systems. On to you, Akiv.
Thank you, Ruby. I hope I'm audible. Uh, there couldn't have been a better panel to actually introduce why we need technology today, why we need innovation today, why we need a people first approach in dissemination today. Because they've all touched upon something which kind of touches each aspect of innovation and technology that we are talking about, each aspect of approach that we are talking about. At AL50, when we were co-evangelizing this, and Ruby was as much a part in the evangelization bit of it, we understood that there are innovations, there are these great change makers who are all across us. It's just that they have not been aggregated in an immutable manner, wherein their facts, the innovations, the IPs that they are generating are not being pushed across to the market in its truest sense, or are not being utilized in the best possible structure. So there was a reason to aggregate with an efficiency on imitation. And imitation basically means the fact that it cannot be changed, it cannot be altered without proper proof. So what we started working on was primarily a transparent blockchain based ecosystem of innovators, of producers, of digital awareness and physical awareness modelers, and of people who created distribution structures around menstrual health and hygiene in specific, and women health and hygiene in general. And for that to happen, technology is the magic sauce. It's the creative scene as well as the collaborative scale that allows for it. So what we did was we broke up it into three parts. The first part was stories. What are the strong stories and personas that you want to tell to the world about, from which you could relate, from which you could locate, and from which you could feel connected to? Okay, this is an issue that's registered, this is not something that's unnatural, this is not a taboo for all that it is being built into, and there is a reason to talk it, and there's a reason to trash it out. So what Nehal ma'am very kindly and very candidly put across was the fact that there aren't enough persona or enough stories who are telling that story to the world. They're not the story of menstruation, which tell the story of women health, which tell the story of how change makers are already through time memorial, and we are not discussing something that's contemporary viable. It's been there with us. The idea is to document it on platforms and portals and roundtables and so on and so forth. It's time that we affect those parts of the learning development pedagogy which are relevant to change makers, which are relevant to innovators like our very own period man, which are relevant to the questions that Nehalam is asking, which are relevant to what Rohini is pointing out to with regard the efficacy of the project management process. So the L&D has to happen more with respect to the complementary areas that have been identified. So the blockchain helped us in that, and then the structure that we created helped in connecting the stories which were in multilinguals to be transferred into characters who could speak up of their process and the lacks in it. And then we incentivized via a platform wherein their products, their services, their awareness drills, their networking capacities are given their due, and given their due without any security losses on their IP, without any liability with regards not being able to fulfill an order beyond capacity, and without any lack of transparency to the end user. In India and in countries like ours, there is so much CSR and there's so much noise that's made around women health and hygiene. How much of it is accountable CSR was one of the questions that we wanted to ask. Can we give them a dashboard which talks about your money went from point A to point B in procuring point C based innovations for point D based benefactors? And if it could all be on one map, everybody knows the accountability of that 1 unit rupee or 1 unit sterling or 1 unit dollar that was actually spent. So the idea was to combine stories, learning and development, and commerce via a decentralized, transparent, immutable, and for sure secure network. And that is what you would have as a launch with Action Lab 2050, and in which all of you who are doing such wonderful work are going to be stakeholders to how that ecosystem bludgeons into a real force, a real effective reformist change to it. So the tech is there. The tech is without the mobile phones. The tech is also without the cluster requirement of understanding how phones operate, or the privilege of knowing how to be on a smartphone, or the privilege of having the availability of speaking a particular language. And it is inferential, it is working on voice, it has abilities to do chatbotting of orders, it has the ability of taking in questions and empathizing with the question first before generating an answer for it, because it's not always important that it's real time. It's more or less more important to actually personalize. So the focus is on personal stories being connected to specific learning and development, and specific learning and development bringing effective scale and commerce for each one of these three players. So that's AL50's tech in a nutshell for all of you. That's why Ruby ma'am mentioned it as the transparency mission that we are on. Aggregate, make it immutable, and eventually convert it into a transparent whole. That's what we have to offer to each one of you. In a very short while from now, it would be live, and it could be used by an NGO, it could be used by somebody who's essentially doing an awareness drill in his or her own demographic geographic area. It could be used by a product seller or a product manufacturer, and so on and so forth, so that the ecosystem sees the to and fro's happening, and it identifies the real change makers on the ground. So that's my first bet on it. Sorry to have taken long.
No, no, you took perfect time. Actually, I would have loved to do a second round, but unfortunately, I was just told that we are 2 minutes away from the closure, and we still have Dr. Mishra doing her research studies. So, the way we will take this forward is going forward, we are creating a discussion forum online. We will share the connect on that. Maybe we all of us could be there for the online discussion forum till the next time when we all manage to meet up again to have a discussion like this. It was wonderful having such lovely panelists, and I'm really Niyamat and Tanya, going forward we must have 2 hours at least for a panel like this, because there are so much the panelists have to say and so much for us to learn in this, and it's a long process. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your time. Now on to Dr. Mishra for your presentation, please. Vaibhav, if you can just help us run the presentation.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Niyamat.
Respected ma'am is on mute, so if she could just be helped, she can,
Ma'am, please unmute on your this thing. Yeah, wonderful. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Binori ma'am, you're not audible. If you could check your audio settings. Ruby ma'am, can we help Binodini ma'am by actually circulating this very interesting presentation to everyone in the panel, because apparently she has an audio problem in the system, and this is mind-blowingly well done as a presentation. So each one of us should get an access. Is what I would request. Ma'am, you're on mute. Ruby.
Perfect, Akiv. I think that's a wonderful solution. Niyamat, Vaibhav, and Tina, what we could possibly do is circulate this research, because this has some impactful studies in under it. And next time, maybe, ma'am, I will go to Bhubaneswar, sit with you, and make this presentation with you.
Right, I
And
will do that.
yeah, if all of us could be on the screen for once, we would. Niyamat loves to take pictures of us, so if you could allow her to do that.
Right. Thank you so much. We're closing for the day, and we'd request after that, Ruby and Tina to say the last words. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, just give us a minute while we get all the cameras on, and we can take a nice photograph of all of us.
Niyamat, you are yourself not there in the camera. How's that?
I know my internet seems to be down, but yeah, we've got the photograph, I think.
Wonderful. That's great. Now on to you, Tina, to give the last word.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ruby. Hello.
Yeah, Tina, you're audible.
Yes, thank you so much, Ruby. Today is indeed a memorable day for me because I get to join this conversation of MHM.
Your voice has gone off, Tina, please.
Can you hear
The
me now?
mouthpiece has to, yeah, come up a little, I think.
Yes, today is a memorable day for me because I managed to join in the conversation of MHM, a conversation that in my culture is frowned upon. It's not accepted to be discussed in public. This has caused women to suffer in silence. During menstruating, people use, sometimes some cultures still use leaves. Some women still dig holes and sit in those holes during all the time of your periods. So for this, that we are able that to discuss this and encourage other young girls that it is normal and it is not a mistake to be a woman, it is not a mistake to be a girl or a female to be menstruating. It's an achievement on its own self that we are embracing this and discussing this at this level. So because of that, I really like to appreciate all the panelists. I like to appreciate the moderators. It was thought-provoking. There's a lot of food for thoughts and take-home ideas and data. I'm so much happy. It's just unfortunate that Dr. Binana could not do her presentation, which I know it was much marvelous. That is 35 years of input that will have helped us in so many ways. And luckily enough, thank God that we are going to receive each a copy and that we are going to learn from it more. So yes, I'm so much excited. Thank you so much.
AL50 for your partnership and co-hosting this event with Toto Africa. I know this is just the beginning. Yeah, yet more collaboration with AL50 to come. So AL50 and team, thank you so much, Ruby. Thank you so much, Vibe, and even
Thank you,
Petit.
Tina.
Yes, and the moderators, thank you so much. All of you are very busy in your different sectors. You're doing such amazing work in your different organizations from your different countries. And for you to spare us this time that we may learn together, we may exchange ideas, we may encourage and support and embrace the girl child and the menstruators in large. I mean, that was just awesome and phenomenal. I would like also to thank the partners, especially 2023 Designs, for the gifts that they've prepared for all the panelists and the moderators. It's thank you so much, 2023 Designs. And also thank you so much, WLM, that is World Logistic Management, for accepting to partner with this event. I mean, so that they can make sure that all the panelists are going to receive this a simple gift from our heart. Thank you so much. And I'm not going to forget the Toto Africa team. They've worked phenomenally. And thank you so much. Kanika and Arunima, they've been having exams, but they've been persevering and getting sick all along the way. Above all, I just want to thank everybody for their collaboration with us, for their partnership, for everything. Thank you so much. I cannot get enough of saying thank you. This is just the beginning. Kindly let's carry it on in the online discussion. I know there's some people that did not put across all their points. Please, whenever we tag you, just finish up your points there. We will pick it up from there. We want it to still make it educative. Those things are in your brain. We don't want them to stay in your brain. We want it out there. Okay, so yes, please just put it out there in the social media where we are tagging you so that people can learn more on that. Otherwise, we declare that this Afro-Asia Summit Menstrual Health and Management 2021 was a success, and this is just the beginning. We will reach out to you again next year. Otherwise, happy end year, festives, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.